Most people do not realize that some banks literally make money by giving loans without having money on deposit. OK， 那就后面不要读了。Most people do not realize that some banks literally make money.
对，你不要等着，你可以再读感觉，然后 deposit 刚才这个发音读错了。
老师，我决定放弃了，by giving loans 我就不读了。
你可以读到结尾没有关系。
Most people do not realize that some banks literally make money by giving loans without having money on deposit. Your subject outlines are a good place to go to find information about which textbooks to buy. Your subject outlines are a good place to go to find information about which textbooks to buy.
好，正式读的这个速度再稳定一点，不用太赶哈。Find information， 把重音都读出来。
Find information. Your subject outlines are a good place to go to find information about which textbooks to buy. This book is no ordinary book and should not be read through from beginning to end. This book is no ordinary book and should not be read through from beginning to end.
Ordinary book 这个重音读出来，然后呢尾音往下降。Ordinary book, ordinary book. This book is no ordinary book.
This book is no ordinary book. 不对 ，This book is no ordinary book.
对，这里边都对。
This book is no ordinary book and should not be read through from beginning to end. 有点
剩几秒钟的时候，在开头你可以稍微再读个开头，像 two sisters 这样，不要完全等着哈，再利用好那个时间。
老师，那个时候我在换气。我每次都是留最后几秒钟憋气。
你可以换，但是它录音开始的时候，你再一读，好像这个地方有点录不上，我听那个声音，再稳一点哈，继续。
Two sisters were at a dinner party when the
the elder sister。我们
The elder sister started to say that her parent had been very strict and that she had rather been frightened of them. 对，老师考试就可能会这样，就是卡一两个词。
卡一点点没有关系哈，不要去纠结，继续往前走。
Nature offers no greater splendor than the starry sky on a clear dark night. Nature offers no greater splendor than the starry sky on a clear dark night.
Splendor 重音再读出来 ，splendor， 然后尾音嘚再往下降一点。对。
Splendor. Nature offers no greater splendor than the starry sky on a clear dark night.
Starry sky 也降下来 ，starry sky 重音凸显，准备一下。
Nature offers no greater splendor than the starry sky on a clear dark night. Not only did they have the best halls, they attracted the best musicians. Not only did they have the best halls, they attracted the best musicians who tended to stay put. They attracted the best musicians who tended to stay put. Not only did they have the best halls, they attracted the best musicians who tended to stay put.
一群间停顿的时间稍微长了一点点。
Only 1 in 4 of the population know that half the languages of the world are so seriously endangered. Only 1 in 4 of the population know that half the languages of the world know Only 1 in 4 of the population know that half the languages of the world are so seriously endangered.
39.5% of California residents do not speak English in the home.
39.5% California residents do not speak English at home.
不要纠结内容，失去句子感了哈。
The tutorial rooms are located along the left-hand side.
The tutorial room is located on the left-hand side.
用 RA 的感觉，不要模仿语音。
Let's see if the technology is going to cooperate for this presentation.
Let's see the technology is going to cooperate with this presentation.
She doesn't care about anything but what is honest and true.
She doesn't care about anything but what is honest and true.
下一篇稍微跟读一下，小声嘟囔着。
Children are not allowed in tutorial rooms at any time.
Children are not allowed in the tutorial room at any time.
In Europe, the political pressure is similar regarding globalization.
In Europe, the globalization is similar regarding globalization.
Politicians make much better decisions when they listen to public opinion.
Politicians make much better decisions.
We have very little actual documentation of it.
We have very little documentation of it.
We've been doing research in that area for probably over 25 years.
We've been doing research in that area for 25 years.
The media have had a great influence on people's beliefs and attitudes.
The media had great influence on media and social.
The final exam will test material from all chapters covered in class this term.
The final exam will test material from all chapters in this class. 为什么觉得这次的 repeat sentence 这么多？
就多了一个而已。
This graph gives information about barriers to visiting museums or art galleries. According to the graph, we can see proportion of adults unable to visit more often. According to the graph, we can see lack of time have the highest number, which is 50. According to the graph, we can see lack of information about event have the lowest number, which is 5. According to the graph, we can see not available locally, transport problems, cost of entry, caregiver responsibilities, and percentage. According to the graph, we can see the lowest. According to the graph, it is very interesting. In conclusion, this graph is very informative.
结尾不要赶语速呀，而且会有拖音哈 five， 不要这样 five， 干脆利落一点。最后一两句不要慌。
This graph gives information about where international companies have their European headquarters. According to the graph, we can see number of European headquarters. According to the graph, we can see UK have the highest number, which is 200. According to the graph, we can see Denmark have the lowest number, which is 10. According to the graph, we can also see Germany, Switzerland, France, and other countries. According to the graph, it shows the highest and the lowest. In conclusion, this graph is very informative. This graph gives information about income by age and gender in the UK. According to the graph, we can see median income pre-tax in pounds. According to the graph, we can see different gender, including both female and male. According to the graph, we can see different age groups. According to the graph, we can see the highest number is 30,000. According to the graph, we can see the lowest number is 10,000. According to the graph, we can see 40 to 45. In conclusion, this graph is very informative. Manufacturers, retailers, consumers, recyclers. Recycling. This graph gives information about the recycling process. This graph gives information about the recycling process. According to the graph, we can see manufacturers, retailers, consumers, and recyclers. According to the graph, we can see some gray arrows. According to the graph, we can see houses, trees, trolleys. In conclusion, this graph is very informative. 对，因为我发现那个时间不够，然后就。
Now, economists calculate, and it's a back-of-the-envelope calculation, that removing all immigration controls would double the size of the world economy. And even a small relaxation of immigration controls would lead to disproportionately big gains. Now, from an ethical point of view, it's hard to argue against a policy that would do so much to help people who are much poorer than ourselves. The famous RAND study reckons that the typical immigrant who arrives in the US ends up $20,000 a year better off. And it's not just the migrants themselves who gain, it's the countries that they come from. Already, the migrants working from poor countries, working in rich countries, send home around $200 billion a year through formal channels, and perhaps twice that through informal channels. And that compares to the mere $100 billion that Western governments give in aid. And those remittances, they're not wasted on weapons, they're not siphoned off into Swiss bank accounts, they go straight into the pockets of local people. They pay for food, they pay for clean medicine, clean water, they pay for medicines. They help keep kids in school, they help start up new businesses.
This lecture mainly talks about the world economy. According to the lecture, the speaker mentions that it could double the size. According to the lecture, the speaker mentions the policy can help people. According to the lecture, the speaker mentions that it is the countries they come from. According to the lecture, the speaker mentions that there is a Western government. According to the lecture, the speaker mentions that it can pay for medicine and school. In conclusion, this lecture talks about it can help people.
What is formed when snow melts?
Ice, ice, snow, snow.
Does mathematics or linguistics cover the study of the relationships between numbers?
Yes, yes, yes. No, no.
What's the word for the fourth basic arithmetical operation? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and
Addition.
How many times does an isolated incident occur?
1, 1 time. 2, 2 times.
What type of coastal building warns sailors of dangerous coasts?
Building, sailors.
How often is a quarterly journal published?
Quarterly, false,